Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me for today's edition of Daf Yomi. Today's Daf is Shevuot Daf 49 Amud A. And yeah, I hope all is well. As you can see, it's a sunny blue sky day here in Manchester. So let's go. Amar Rav Huna. Any oath, including one incurred by rabbinic law, may be extended. What does that mean? The kol hamag galin v'chulo. If one has been required to take an oath by the court, even an oath of inducement, the opposing litigant may demand imposition of additional oath for any monetary claim he has against him, even if the opposing litigant does not demand imposition of additional oath. The court itself can impose oaths for such claims, as long as they know that such claims actually exist. Otherwise, that would be like giving a litigant legal advice, which is the court is forbidden to do, so says the Shach. Nevertheless, when the hire worker takes an oath to receive his wages, an oath may be imposed upon him in accordance with Rav's interpretation of the opinion of Rav Huna. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Mishpat and Hilchot Toran and V'nitan 112 Shulchan Aruch HaMitva 94:1. To render the person who takes it liable to take an additional oath, except for an oath of a hired worker, which may not be extended, since the hired worker's oath was instituted only to alleviate the concern of the employer. Now, Chesed says for everyone the sages are not lenient. The kol ein makilin. For anyone the sages are not lenient. Rashi explains Rav Chesed's opinion as being only slightly different from Rav Huna's opinion, and says they both relate to an imposition of additional oath upon someone who is already required to take an oath of some sort. By contrary, Midrash maintains that the topic is the initial oath itself, not the imposition of additional oaths, and explains that for most people the court is not lenient with regard to the oaths, and does not try to avoid implementing them. While for the hired worker the court tries to have him receive his wages without having to take an oath. The Rambam explains from a somewhat different perspective that in general the court is not lenient with regard to oaths, and advises that the litigant to refrain from taking oaths. The court is lenient for a hired worker and encourages him to take an oath in order to receive his wages. The Ran understands the Rif as holding that Rav Chesed explains that Rav Huna's statement, not that Rav Chesed disagrees with it, in that they extend any oath they incur to impose them additional oaths, except for hired worker for whom they are lenient. The Gemara asks, what is the difference between the rules of Rav Huna and Rav Chesed? The Gemara answers there is a practical difference between them as to whether the court initiates extending an oath for him. When any person who is liable to take an oath, the court is not lenient, except for a hired worker taking an oath for his wages, for whom the court is lenient and initiates the idea, telling him not to be perturbed by the oath, but to take the oath and receive his wages. This is in accordance with the Rambam's interpretation of Chesed's opinion in agreement